I often get asked which is the best flowering plant that can be grown indoors and bloom around the year. Anthurium flowers are the perfect choice for growing indoors that bloom around the year. Anthurium is a delightful tropical plant with glossy foliage and bright heart-shaped blooms, available in several colors. The dazzling bright flowers of Anthurium are some of the longest lasting flowers that will last in your home for months. Anthurium represents hospitality with its open heart-shaped flower and inspires happiness. You can see how much color and character Anthurium brings to the space. One interesting thing is these heart-shaped flowers are not actually flowers. These are known as pairs, which protect these paddings. This is fleshy spike covered with many small complete flowers. Like many popular houseplants, Monstera, Philodendrons, pothos, peace lily, Anthurium also the part of Araceae family. They are native to the tropical rainforest area where they grow across the trunk and branches of tall trees. Their roots are especially adapted to absorb water from the air or soak up the rainwater. They are epiphytes like orchids. So when it comes to indoor settings, Anthurium requires little care. So today I will be sharing some basic tips to grow healthy and blooming Anthurium. As I shared, Anthurium's natural habitat sounds very different from the inside your home. That doesn't mean you can't grow them indoors. With little care, you can grow Anthurium successfully. But chances are they won't be vigorous as they would be in nature. To thrive, Anthurium needs lots of bright light. But beware, too many direct sun rays can scorch their leaves. An indoors east-facing window is the best as the plant will get rays in the early morning hours, but shielded from the heat of the day. You can also keep Anthurium in south or west facing window, but keep it few feet away from the window, or you can use sheer curtain to filter the harsh afternoon light. Flowering Anthurium needs bright indirect light. Low light will slow growth, dull color and produce small and fewer flowers. So place your Anthurium in setting where they will receive at least 6 hours of bright indirect sunlight each day. If Anthurium produces new flowers that remains green, this means that it's not getting enough light. In this case, you should move your Anthurium to the brighter place. And don't forget to trim old yellow leaves and spent flowers from the base of the plant to encourage new blooms. Anthuriums prefer humid environment due to their tropical origin. But when it comes to watering schedule, they need to be watered only once or twice a week depending on your location or season, because their fleshy roots are susceptible to root rot. So proper drainage is also important. Water thoroughly when the first inch of the soil becomes dry to touch. When you give the plant water, make sure it gets enough that the drainage hose at the base of the pot are dripping. Otherwise, you can't be sure that you have soaked the potting mix all the way to the lower roots. Avoid overwatering as their roots are susceptible to root rot. The more light and warmth your Anthurium get, it will need more water. So check the soil before watering your plant. These plants also provide signs of thirst or stress. Thirsty plant will have dull or droopy leaves. After learning from my mistakes, I understand that Anthuriums are epiphytes, meaning they do not necessarily need soil to grow. They use the moisture from the air and nutrients from their host, usually a tree or surrounding dead plant material. Their potting mix should contain more drainage material. compared to soil for most of the indoor plants such as wood chips, perlite, porous sand to allow the water to drain quickly. The right mix will reduce the risk of both dehydration and root rot. For potting mix, first I need porous woody materials, coconut husk or bark chips. Next, perlite, which makes up the porous ingredient of the potting mix, some charcoal, coco peat, and lastly compost, the organic elements. These work better for my plants. Remember, Anthurium needs loose porous potting mix that is airy and provides adequate water drainage for the plant to thrive. If you use finer or compact potting mix, your plant will develop root rot and you will lose your pretty house plant. So use porous, well draining, loose potting mix for Anthurium. You can grow Anthuriums with regular indoor humidity, but being tropical plant, increased humidity will help it flourish indoors. When the humidity is lower than 60% in room where your Anthurium is placed, it can become dormant even after getting enough light and warmth. In such condition, if your bathroom is getting enough bright light, then you can consider keeping your Anthurium there. Another way to increase humidity around the plant is to mist it periodically. Use lukewarm water with fine mist, setting smaller droplets dry more quickly. Anthurium enjoys humid weather. They do well in areas which are close to the coastal region. But if you come from city which has dry and hot weather, then you need to be little careful. In such condition, you can consider using humidifier to maintain the humidity. Also, grouping plants together can slightly increase the humidity. Sunlight, potting mix and water are the basic requirements of Anthuriums to survive. But to develop new leaves and flowers, they need extra nutrients. When you buy plant from the nursery, these all ingredients are already mixed in their potting mix. Eventually, the plant will use up its existing supply, which is one reason that the growth can stop over time. For Anthuriums, I often use plant foods that is formulated for orchids because they have similar dietary needs. Dilute it down to the 1/4 of dosage given on the package. I put this liquid to Anthurium once every 2 weeks. This feeding style mimics the slow trickle of nutrition that wild plant would get from rainwater and rotting leaves in the forest. Always remember, fertilizer will only help if your plant is receiving their basic requirement. Otherwise, no use of fertilizer application. If your Anthurium has grown too big for its pot, then it's time to repot your Anthurium. The new pot should be 20 to 30% bigger than its old pot. Crowded roots will stunt the plant growth. With right care and regular feeding, Anthurium produces flowers throughout the year. Usually, however, there are cycles of 3 months of flowerings, a few months without flowering, and then 3 months of flowering again. When the plant has shiny leaves and is producing new flowers, you can assume that they are enjoying favorable conditions and will flower for many years. In the winter months, the plant generally has fewer blooms, but once the sun shines more, it will flower more. You might not see blooms if your plant has soggy soil, insufficient lighting, and if the plant is too root bound. You will need high humidity and regular feeding with high phosphorus fertilizer to get this plant to bloom. That's all for today's video. I hope you find this video helpful. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Till then, take care and happy gardening.